Assalamualaikum, I am Talat Suhail. I welcome you all to Virtual University's program on Theories of Personality. Dear students, today is our lecture number 6. We are still talking about the psychoanalytic theory of personality given by Sigmund Freud. So we'll be talking about the psychoanalytic personality theory of Sigmund Freud. Dear students, when we finished with lecture number 5, we were talking about techniques of tapping the unconscious. हमने ड्रीम एनालिसिस तक आपसे बात की थी और उसके आगे की टेक्निक्स हमने डिस्कस करनी थी. Now, before proceeding with our lecture number 6, let us very clear about two things. In this lecture number 6, we'll be recapping what we did in lecture 4 and lecture 5. Because we will be doing an evaluation and a summary analysis of psychoanalytic theory of Sigmund Freud. और ये जो psychoanalytic theory of personality given by Sigmund Freud है, इसमें हम evaluate करेंगे उसकी personality theory को और देखेंगे कि क्या क्या criticisms उसके ऊपर मौजूद हैं. We will be talking about in this lecture number 6, we will summarize this theory for you. And it's important because all the points that we'll summarize in this lecture, they are connected with the coming preceding other lectures as well. Because after finishing every personality theory, we will be comparing it with psychoanalysis. Because psychoanalytic theory of personality is the first personality theory, and all the other theories that we come across are reactions to it. So we will see on what particular points the other theories are similar to psychoanalysis or psychoanalytic theory and on what grounds they differ. So let us begin with our lecture number 6. So let us recap what we did in lecture number 5. Now in lecture number 5, we talked about psychoanalytic theory of personality और हमने उसमें देखा कि this theory was given to us by Sigmund Freud. There are 4 major contributions that he has made. He has given a theory of personality. Number 1, he's talking about a theory of personality. Number 2, he's giving us methods of treatment. Number 3, he based all his theory on clinical observations. Number 4, he is talking about methods of investigation as well. His theory of personality has a lot of focus on unconscious. He thinks unconscious and childhood experiences are very important in formulating the personality of an individual. दूसरी तरफ psychoanalytic theory में there is a lot of talking about psychic determinism. So first thing is a lot of focus on unconscious and childhood experiences. दूसरी तरफ there is psychic determinism. और psychic determinism से we mean that we are talking about that all our behavior has a purpose, has a meaning, has some goal. तो हम जो कुछ भी करते हैं उसका कोई purpose होता है. Then we said that psychoanalytic theory of personality, basically Sigmund Freud was a clinician. He used hypnosis and later he gave up hypnosis and used free association and dream analysis and his own techniques in treating patients who were suffering from hysteria or conversion reaction. So these are the 3 important things which you should keep in mind. Dear students, we are talking about Sigmund Freud's psychoanalytic theory of personality. और हम आपसे उसमें बात करें कि he gave us a method of treatment. He based his method of treatment on his clinical observation. दूसरी तरफ हम ये देख रहे हैं कि Sigmund Freud used self-analysis. He analyzed his own behavior, his own personality and used it in analysis of other people as well. So dear students, we are talking about psychoanalytic theory of personality. Now, the core elements of psychoanalytic theory include, number one, we will be talking about the levels of consciousness, या जो आप कहते हैं theory of consciousness. हम बात करेंगे आपसे analysis of mental structures की, psychosexual stages of development की, ego defense mechanisms की, and we'll be talking about means of tapping the unconscious. So these are the things which you are familiar with. We are simply recapping it for sake of evaluation, for sake of summarizing them. So levels of consciousness. According to this model, psychic energy can be represented by 3 levels of consciousness: the conscious, the preconscious, and the unconscious. Freud used this mental map of the mind to describe the degree to which mental events such as thoughts, fantasies vary in their accessibility to awareness. बात आपसे जनाब हो रही है levels of consciousness की, और हमने ये कहा कि it was Sigmund Freud who provided a mental map, and according to this mental map, the mind can be divided into 3 levels: the conscious, the pre-conscious or subconscious, and the unconscious. Now, when we are talking about these 3 levels, according to Freud, the unconscious is very important. It is the unconscious which is responsible for most of the conflicts that appear in an individual's life. So, Janab, let us see what is conscious level. Conscious level refers to all the thoughts, feeling, perception that an individual is aware of at the moment. But this contains a very small portion of your activities. So basically, when I say conscious, that means I'm talking to you, you are listening to me, you are aware what I'm talking to you. But this activity, conscious activity realm is very small, is very brief, is very minute activity of your mind according to Sigmund Freud. I'm not saying that, that's according to Freud. So let us see what is the pre-conscious or the subconscious. The pre-conscious domain, sometimes called the available memory, it contains all experiences that are not conscious at the moment, but which can readily be summoned into awareness, either spontaneously or with a minimum of effort. This might include memories of everything you did last week, your security ID number, all the towns you have lived in, your favorite foods, and a host of other past experiences as well. So, Janab, pre-conscious or subconscious refers to your available memory realm, that area which you can recall. और इसमें वो तमाम वाक़यात, events, phenomena and things are included, like your ID number, the towns you have visited, the food you have eaten, the people you have met during this week or just few days back. So that is pre-conscious or subconscious is the available memory which is there in an individual. ये भी इतनी अहम नहीं है according to Sigmund Freud, neither conscious nor pre-conscious, not that important. It is the third part of the level of consciousness, that is the unconscious, which is very important for Sigmund Freud. The deepest and the major stratum of human mind is the unconscious. Freud was not the first to focus attention on the importance of unconscious processes in understanding human actions. Several 18th and 19th century philosophers had suggested the influence of unconscious experience on behavior. जनाब बात ये है, the deepest and the most important stratum or part of your mental activity is the unconscious. And this unconscious for psychoanalytic theory of personality is very important. Most of the part of this unconscious an individual is unaware about, and doesn't know what it's doing. So जनाब, let us take an example related to unconscious. Example: all your nightmares, phobias, fears which influence you, but why you have them is because of the unconscious. You don't have an answer. And Freud suggested ways and techniques of reaching the unconscious through free association, dream analysis, and analysis of resistance. बात आपसे हो रही है third level of consciousness, the deepest, the most important, which is the main bulk of the mind and for which you do not have an obvious answer. Why are you having a particular nightmare? Why are you afraid of the dark? आपके जितने phobias हैं, fears हैं, nightmares हैं, वो क्यों हैं? According to Freud, because of the unconscious. You don't have an answer for that. But Freud also provided us with certain methods or techniques of probing the unconscious, जिसमें जनाब free association is there, dream analysis is there, analysis of resistance, analysis of transference, analysis of humor. तो बहुत सारी techniques हैं जिनके जरिए हम आपकी जो unconscious है उसको study कर सकते हैं. Let's take another example. You stand near a river. The top water is the conscious part of your mental activity. Fill out some muddy water in a container. It is the subconscious part. And when you dug the river bed and find something buried in it, well, that is the unconscious part of your mental activity. बात आपसे हो रही है जनाब levels of consciousness की, और हमने कहा उसको एक example के साथ कर लेते हैं कि let us suppose you are standing near a river. The top water of the river that you see, very little of it, and that is the conscious activity. अगर आपको कोई कंटेनर दिया जाए और आप उसमें थोड़ा सा पानी भरें तो वो जो मडी वाटर मिलेगा, दैट इज योर प्री कॉन्शियस, सबकॉन्शियस अवेलेबल मेमोरी. But if you go deep down the river bed and dug it out, what's buried in it, that is the unconscious part of your mental activity, and that, according to Sigmund Freud, is very important. जनाब बात आपसे हम कर रहे हैं लेवल्स ऑफ कॉन्शियसनेस की, और उसमें हमने कहा कि कॉन्शियस, प्री कॉन्शियस, अनकॉन्शियस. बट इन साइको एनालिटिक थ्योरी ऑफ पर्सनैलिटी, जी बिल्कुल, द अनकॉन्शियस पार्ट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट as far as personality development and personality interpretation is concerned. Dear students, let us talk about, Freud also gave us what is an instinct, a definition of what is an instinct and types of instincts. Freud recognized the existence of two basic groups of them, life and death instincts. The first group indicates all forces which serve to maintain vital life processes and assures the propagation of the species. Because of the significance attributed to them in the psychic organization of the individuals, the sex instincts were singled out by Freud as the most salient of the life instincts for development of personality. The energy force underlying the sexual instincts is called libido. बात आपसे हो रही है जनाब इंस्टिंक्ट्स की, और उसमें हमने कहा इंस्टिंक्ट इज एन इनहेरिटेड कंडीशन and it gives direction to our behavior. So according to Sigmund Freud, there are two types of instincts. Life instincts, जिनको Sigmund Freud arrows कह रहे, which are responsible for all the vital processes of your life. The progeny of species, the survival depends on these life instincts or arrows. दूसरी तरफ हमारे पास है the second group of instincts which is labeled as thanatos or death instinct. और ये जो thanatos और death instinct है, it is being reflected जब भी आप किसी भी destructive activity का हिस्सा बनते हैं, whenever you are doing something which is self-damaging or damaging other individuals. और इसमें हमने आपके साथ बात की थी जनाब, ये लाइफ इंस्टिंक्ट्स या एरोस तो वहां पे रिफ्लेक्ट हो रहे हैं जब आप when you are involved in any constructive activity, you are interested in building a cancer hospital like Imran Khan for the welfare of cancer patients, or you are interested in building an old people's home like Abdul Sattar Eidi for looking after older people. So then you are under the control of life instinct or arrows. और जब आप कोई चीज फाड़ रहे हैं, तोड़ रहे हैं, डैमेज कर रहे हैं, तो then death instinct or thanatos has control of you. Dear students, we talked about levels of consciousness. जनाब आपसे बात हमने की लाइफ और डेथ इंस्टिंक्ट्स की. Let us talk about mental structures. जनाब जब भी हम पर्सनैलिटी स्ट्रक्चर्स की बात करते हैं अकॉर्डिंग टू सिगमंड फ्रॉइड या मेंटल स्ट्रक्चर्स की बात करते हैं, वेल दे आर 3. बिल्कुल सही. इड, ईगो, सुपर ईगो. Now, id is the irrational, illogical, childish component within you. This id, it operates according to the pleasure principle. Greek concept है of hedonism, which is based on pleasure. That is all those things which are pleasurable, you seek them and you avoid pain. तो वो सारी चीजें जो आपको प्लेजर प्रोवाइड करती हैं, इट गोज फॉर देम irrespective of the outer world reality, irrespective of the norms, irrespective of the law, irrespective के वो एक्सप्रेस होने चाहिए या नहीं. So it is the irrational, childish component of personality, and it is reflected through all pleasurable activities. All activities in which you seek pleasure and you avoid pain. Now the energy provided to it comes through libido. दूसरा component, ego. Now ego is that portion of your psyche that tries to express and gratify the desires of both the outer world reality as well as the superego. जनाब बात ये है, ईगो इज ऑल योर कॉन्शियस एक्टिविटीज, और वो सारी कॉन्शियस एक्टिविटीज जो हैं वो रियलिटी और सुपर ईगो के कंस्ट्रेंट्स के दरमियान में एक्सप्रेस होनी चाहिए. डियर स्टूडेंट्स, वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट द सेकेंड इम्पॉर्टेंट कॉम्पोनेंट ऑफ पर्सनैलिटी एंड दैट इज ईगो. ईगो इज द रैशनल कंट्रोल. It operates according to the reality principle. और ये जो reality principle है, all the id impulses have to be expressed within the parameters of reality and superego. That is, all that is permitted by norms of the society, all that is permitted according to law and norms. तो बात आपसे हो रही है सेकेंड इम्पॉर्टेंट कंपोनेंट एंड दैट इज ईगो. और ईगो का रोल जो है वो सबसे मुश्किल है, क्योंकि ईगो इज ट्राइंग टू मीडिएट एंड रिजॉल्व एनी कॉन्फ्लिक्ट दैट इज बिटवीन इट, द चाइल्डिश पार्ट, एंड द सुपर ईगो, द मॉरल आर्म ऑफ द पर्सनैलिटी, which wants everything to be expressed within what your parents, teachers, law permits you. और इट कहता है कि नहीं, आई वॉन्ट समथिंग एंड दैट थिंग इज प्लेजरेबल एंड आई वॉन्ट इट देयर एंड देन. अब जो ईगो है, इट हैज टू मीडिएट, इट हैज टू सिलेक्ट द मिडिल वे विच इज एक्सेप्टेबल बोथ टू सुपर ईगो एज वेल एज टू द इट. सो दैट इज द डिफिकल्ट पार्ट. जनाब बात आपसे हो रही है कि 3 important personality components की हमने की. id की, the irrational part, and this id is present at birth, and हमने कहा it follows the primary process and it is based on the pleasure principle. दूसरी तरफ हमने कहा is ego, and ego is the rational control, but it is constrained by reality world on one hand and on superego at the other hand, and it uses the secondary process, and it has a very important role to mediate any conflict which is there between id and superego. Janab, another important thing, and that is psychosexual stages of development. The psychoanalytic theory of development is based on two premises. The first, the genetic approach, which emphasizes that adult personality is shaped by various types of early childhood experiences. The second premise is that a certain amount of sexual energy, libido, is present at birth and thereafter progresses through a series of psychosexual stages that are rooted in the instinctual processes of the organism. बात आपसे हो रही है जनाब साइकोसेक्सुअल स्टेजेस ऑफ डेवलपमेंट की. हमने कहा कि दिस साइकोएनालिटिक थ्योरी ऑफ डेवलपमेंट, ये जो साइकोसेक्सुअल स्टेजेस ऑफ डेवलपमेंट है सिगमंड फ्रॉइड की, इट इज बेस्ड ऑन टू प्रेमिसेस. सबसे पहला प्रेमिस या एक्सप्लेनेशन ये है कि the first is the genetic approach, and this genetic approach is that a child or an individual passes through psychosexual stages of development. So this is the genetic approach, that each stage of development an individual passes through. और ये पहली जेनेटिक प्रेमिस है. दूसरी जेनेटिक प्रेमिस हमारे पास ये है there is a certain amount of sexual energy, libido, which is present at the time of birth. And as an individual progresses through these stages of development, it changes its form and it progresses from one stage of development to another. Now, every stage of development is important. There are certain needs which arise and they have to be fulfilled. और अगर वो needs जो arise कर रही हैं वो fulfill नहीं हो रही, तो then an individual there is a danger of fixation or regression. तो हर stage of development is important और हर stage पे जो needs arise कर रही हैं they are important. They have to be fulfilled and they have to be taken care of. और अगर वो नहीं resolve हो रही हैं तो then there is a fixation, and this fixation appears in form of different types of personalities. जनाब psychosexual stages of development जो हैं वो है oral stage, anal stage, phallic stage, latency period and genital stage. पहली तीन stages को तो आप pre-genital stage कहते हैं. लेटेंसी जो है वो एक पीरियड है, टेक्निकली इट्स नॉट अ स्टेज. एंड जेनिटल स्टेज इज important because of puberty and because of an individual becoming an adolescent. Dear students, we are talking about psychosexual stages of development as given to us by Sigmund Freud. और हमने कहा कि at every stage a typical problem emerges, and this typical problem or need has to be resolved. If it is not resolved, there is always a danger of fixation or regression. और हमने कहा कि हर स्टेज पे कोई ना कोई प्रॉब्लम जरूर इमर्ज करती. Every stage of psychosexual development is equally important. पहली तीन स्टेजेस को आप pre-genital stages of development कहते हैं. Number 4 is a latency period. It is technically not a stage. And number 5 is the genital stage, और ये वो stage है जहाँ पे puberty sets in. So let us talk about these 5 stages. The oral stage, from birth to 18 months. The oral stage of psychosexual development extends throughout the first year of life. Infants are totally dependent on others for survival and dependence, and their dependence is the only way of obtaining instinctual gratification. Mouth is the body structure most frequently associated at this time with both reduction of biological drives and pleasurable sensations. We are talking about the first stage of psychosexual development, which begins from birth and extends up till the child is 18 months of age. And we say that the dependence of the child for survival is on others, and the main important area is mouth. All pleasurable and biological drives are satisfied through the mouth. So mouth is the main area of gratifying all the needs. और अगर यहाँ पे फिक्सेशन हो तो फिर यू कम अक्रॉस एन इंडिविजुअल जो कि आपको नेल बाइटर के तौर पे नजर आते हैं, पेंसिल, कागज, जो चीज उसके हाथ में होती है, he begins to chew it. So there's a lot of oral fixation. Let us see what is the second stage, the anal stage, 18 months to 3 years. During this period, the focus of libidinal energy shifts from mouth to the anal region. Young children derive considerable pleasure from both the retention and expulsion of feces, and toilet training begins at this stage. Second stage of psychosexual development, it's the anal stage. It begins from 18 months and goes up till 3. And now from the mouth, the focus of interest is the anus, and toilet training begins at this stage. अब जनाब ये बहुत crucial stage है. The mother has to be very patient, very tolerant in making the child go through toilet training. If she is harsh, critical, abusive, that is going to develop a sadistic, anal sadistic personality in the individual. तो जनाब एक sadistic किस्म की personality सामने आएगी. Let us see the third stage, the phallic stage, which begins from 3 years and goes up till 5 years. The child's libidinal interest shifts to a new zone of the body, that is the genital. During this stage of development, Oedipus complex and Electra complex takes place. जनाब ये वो सबसे controversial stage है जिसके ऊपर Sigmund Freud has been criticized a lot. He is talking about Oedipus complex and Electra complex. ये एक ऐसा concept है जिस पे बहुत तनकीद हुई. Oedipus complex is a boy's love and attraction for the mother figure, and there's a desire to get rid of the father figure. Electra complex is girl child's desire to possess the father figure and to get rid of the mother figure. और ये थोड़े अरसे बाद रिजॉल्व होता है और the daughter develops good relations with the mother, rather better relations with the mother, and the son develops better relations with the father. लेकिन अगर ये रिजॉल्व ना हो तो the daughter is going to look for father-like characteristics in the husband, and the son is going to look for mother-like characteristics in the wife. उसके बाद है जनाब हमारे पास the latency period, which begins from 5 years and goes up to 12 years. The child passes through the latency period. The libido is sublimated, that is channeled into non-sexual activities such as intellectual interests, athletics, and peer relations. This is actually not a stage, this is a period in which the libido is sublimated. That is, there are interests in sports, athletics, intellectual activities, book readings gaining some importance. So basically it's a very important period. The fifth important stage, that is the genital stage, 12 years to puberty. With the advent of puberty comes a resurgence of sexual aggressive impulses, coupled with an increased awareness of an interest in the opposite sex. The initial phase of the genital stage, a period extending from adolescence until death, is brought about by biochemical and physiological changes in the organism. The reproductive organs mature and the endocrine system secretes hormone that results in secondary sex characteristics. जनाब बात आपसे हो रही है जेनिटल स्टेज की, और हमने कहा genital stage is important, it begins from puberty, and at the puberty there is an interest, revised interest in the opposite gender. You see a child in this stage in front of the mirror most of the time, trying to make himself or herself more presentable towards the opposite gender. दूसरे स्टेज में जनाब there is another important thing, the endocrine system secretes secondary sexual hormones, and these secondary sexual hormones are responsible for secondary sexual characteristics in boys and girls. So that is why it's important. Psychosexual stages of development are important because each stage contributes to a developmental stage, and at each developmental stage certain needs arises and these needs have to be fulfilled. If they are not fulfilled, a conflict, a pathology, a disorder will emerge at a later adult stage in the life of the individual. So dear students, we talked about levels of consciousness. बात आपसे हुई जनाब instincts की, बात आपसे हुई psychosexual stages of development की. एक और important construct जिसके ऊपर सिगमंड फ्रॉइड ने बहुत फोकस किया और पहली दफा फोकस किया वो है anxiety. Freud's initial interest in the phenomena of anxiety was motivated by his interest in explaining neurotic symptoms and treating people suffer from them. Types of anxiety: realistic anxiety, neurotic anxiety, moral anxiety. So anxiety is a threat. Realistic anxiety, reality anxiety is danger in the external world. Neurotic anxiety is fear of the id impulses being out of control, and moral anxiety is fear of consciousness. जनाब आपसे बात हो रही है एंजाइटी और टाइप्स ऑफ एंजाइटी की, और उसमें पहली है रियलिस्टिक एंजाइटी. नाउ रियलिस्टिक एंजाइटी, व्हाट इज इट? द इमोशनल रिस्पॉन्स टू थ्रेट or perception of real dangers in the external environment such as poisonous snakes, wild animals, earthquake, examinations. It is called realistic or objective anxiety. जनाब बात यूं है कि whenever there is a threat or perception of some real dangers in the environment such as poisonous snakes or deadly animals, ferocious animals, or examinations, well, they produce or they cause a threat, and that threat is reflected in realistic anxiety. Neurotic anxiety. Now neurotic anxiety is caused by the fear that ego thinks that it will be unable to control the id impulses. जब ईगो को ऐसा महसूस होता है कि इट वोंट बी एबल टू कंट्रोल द इड इम्पल्सेस, वेल दैट लीड्स टू न्यूरोटिक एंजाइटी. और ये न्यूरोटिक एंजाइटी जो है ये रिफ्लेक्ट होती है आपके fearful phobic behavioral patterns में. Number 3, moral anxiety. When the ego is threatened by punishment from the superego, well, we come across moral anxiety, and this moral anxiety, it leads to guilt and it leads to self-condemnation in an individual. बात आपसे हो रही है जनाब एंजाइटी की. हमने कहा एंजाइटी is a threat, and this threat is reflected in 3 ways: realistic anxiety, neurotic anxiety, moral anxiety. जनाब एक बहुत अहम बात जो आपके लिए है वो ये है कि it is ego which is constantly under pressure and stress. It is constantly in state of battle. एक तरफ है id impulses which simply want to be expressed. They are all pleasurable impulses and they want their expression. दूसरी तरफ है super ego which constantly condemns the expression of pleasurable impulses, because the teachers, the morals, let's say the teachers, the norms of the society do not permit it to be expressed. Ab ego thinks at times that it will not be in a position to handle the battle that is going on between id and superego. So it somehow takes help from certain protective mechanisms. इन प्रोटेक्टिव मैकेनिज्म्स को हम कहते हैं ईगो डिफेंस मैकेनिज्म्स या कूपिंग स्ट्रैटेजीज और कूपिंग स्टाइल्स दैट आर अडॉप्टेड बाय एन इंडिविजुअल. जितने ईगो डिफेंस मैकेनिज्म्स हैं, all of them with exception of sublimation, they operate at the unconscious level. So that is why they are sort of self-deceptive. Number 2, they distort reality. And number 3, they protect your ego. So जब ego को ऐसे लगता है कि it just cannot resolve the conflict between id and superego, so it takes help from certain protective mechanisms, the coping strategies, the coping styles, or the ego defense mechanisms. They are the same. They have 3 characteristics. They operate at unconscious level, they distort reality, and they protect the ego. जनाब ये जो ईगो डिफेंस मैकेनिज्म्स हैं इनकी बहुत सारी टाइप्स हैं. सब्लिमेशन है, रिप्रेशन है, रिग्रेशन है, प्रोजेक्शन है, रिएक्शन फॉर्मेशन है, डिस्प्लेसमेंट है. So all of them are equally important. Dear students, we are talking about ego defense mechanisms और ईगो डिफेंस मैकेनिज्म्स में हमारे पास एक बड़ी सी लिस्ट है और हमने कहा कि ये जो ईगो डिफेंस मैकेनिज्म्स हैं दीज आर कूपिंग स्ट्रेटजीज दैट आर एक्चुअली द प्रोटेक्टिव मैकेनिज्म्स यूज्ड बाय आवर ईगो टू प्रोटेक्ट अस फ्रॉम थ्रेट which is there to the ego. So let us see what these defense mechanisms are. Sublimation. Sublimation is an ego defense mechanism that enables the individual adaptively to divert impulses so that they may be expressed via sociably approved thoughts or actions. So sublimation is considered to be the only healthy constructive strategy against objectionable impulses because it allows ego to change the aim or object or both of impulses without inhibiting it. So sublimation is the only healthy constructive ego defense mechanism where an impulse has to change its form and then be expressed. If there is aggression, well, this aggression can be expressed in form of wrestling or boxing. So an impulse is there and that impulse is expressed via sociably approved channel. Then we have got repression. Freud regarded repression as primary ego defense. It is described as selective forgetting. Repression completely obstructs the expression of conscious sexual aggressive impulses so that they cannot be admitted to awareness, at least as long as they remain objectionable to the person. So जनाब repression में one has to change the aggressive sexual impulses. Aggressive sexual impulses are completely obstructed and they are repressed, forgotten, and they have to be expressed in another way. Then we have got projection. It refers to the process of unconsciously attributing one's own unacceptable impulses, attitude, and behaviors to other people or to the environment. Projection thus enables us to blame someone else or something else for our own shortcoming. तो जनाब projection ये है कि when you blame someone else or something else for your own shortcoming, so आप जब अपने तमाम objectionable attitudes, perceptions जो हैं दूसरों पे project करके present करें, that is projection. Displacement. In displacement, the expression of instinctual impulse is redirected from a more threatening person or object to a less threatening one. For example, the student angered by his professor, instead of saying something to the professor, takes it out on his roommate, or the child scolded by her parent proceeds to hit her little sister, kick her dog, or smash her toys. डिस्प्लेसमेंट में जनाब आप ये करते हैं कि अपनी इम्पल्स को यू डायरेक्ट इट टू अ लेस थ्रेटनिंग टारगेट. इफ subordinate has been scolded by the boss, a student has been scolded by the professor, he is going to take out the anger either on his friend or on a roommate rather than taking out on the boss. So a child who's scolded by the mother is going to take out that aggression on the little sister, on his pet dog, or is going to break his toys. So that is displacement. Reaction formation. Sometimes the ego can control or defend against the expression of a forbidden impulse by consciously expressing its opposite. This is known as reaction formation. As a defensive process, it operates in two steps. First, the unacceptable impulse is repressed, and the next is the opposite is expressed on conscious level. तो जनाब रिएक्शन फॉर्मेशन में कुछ इस तरह है कि आप सबसे पहले तो अपनी इम्पल्स को रिप्रेस करते हैं और सेकंड नेक्स्ट स्टेप उसका ये कि एग्जैक्ट उसके ऑपोजिट जो है वो एक्सप्रेस करते हैं. यू डोंट लाइक अ पर्सन, यू रिप्रेस दिस फीलिंग, और एग्जैक्ट उसके ऑपोजिट यू बिहेव वेरी पोलाइटली लाइक अ थॉरल जेंटलमैन टू द इंडिविजुअल. सो दैट इज रिएक्शन फॉर्मेशन. Regression. Still another common defense mechanism that we use to defend ourselves against anxiety is called regression. Regression involves a revision or reversion to an earlier stage of psychosexual development or to a mode of expression that is simpler and more childlike. It is a way of elevating anxiety by retreating to an earlier period of life. तो जनाब रिग्रेशन से मुराद है रिवर्टिंग, रिग्रेसिंग, गोइंग बैक टू एन अर्लियर स्टेज और पीरियड ऑफ योर लाइफ where somehow you felt safe, secured and better. So that is regressive attitude. Dear students, we talked about ego defense mechanisms और हमने कहा कि जब भी ईगो को ऐसे महसूस होता है कि इट जस्ट कैनॉट टेक एनी मोर थ्रेट फ्रॉम इड एंड सुपर ईगो, इट इज जस्ट इन स्टेट ऑफ बैटल बिटवीन द टू, सो इट टेक्स हेल्प फ्रॉम प्रोटेक्टिव मैकेनिज्म्स ऑफ द साइकी. और ये जो प्रोटेक्टिव मैकेनिज्म्स ऑफ द साइकी हैं इनको हम कूपिंग स्ट्रेटजीज, कूपिंग स्टाइल्स, और वी कॉल देम एज ईगो डिफेंस मैकेनिज्म्स. और ये सारे ईगो डिफेंस मैकेनिज्म्स वी यूज देम whenever the need arises. All normal people use them in our daily everyday life. जनाब बात आपसे हो रही है सिगमंड फ्रॉइड की साइको एनालिटिक थ्योरी ऑफ पर्सनैलिटी की, और उसमें हम आपसे बात कर रहे थे ईगो डिफेंस मैकेनिज्म्स की. नाउ लेट अस टॉक अबाउट what do we mean by techniques of tapping the unconscious. जब भी whenever an individual talks about phobia, fear, nightmare, a horrible dream, so what are the methods of reaching the unconscious? Janab, there are numerous ways of reaching the unconscious. Free association, dream analysis, analysis of resistance, एनालिसिस ऑफ ट्रांसफरेंस, एनालिसिस ऑफ ह्यूमर. तो ये वो सारे अहम तरीके हैं जिनके जरिए से यू कैन रीच द अनकॉन्शियस. So the first is free association. The patient is asked to lie on a couch and the therapist sits behind the client. Then the patient is asked to give a running account of his thought pattern uninterrupted without socially censoring it. This technique brings to the conscious level emotionally loaded material that at times can be painful, threatening to be discussed at conscious level. तो जनाब बात आपसे हो रही है कि we are talking about techniques of tapping the unconscious और उसमें हमने कहा free association. Now free association is a technique of psychoanalysis that leads to catharsis and insight in the client. There is material at the unconscious level and this material at time when it is retrieved to the conscious level, जब हम उसे unconscious से conscious level की तरफ लेकर आते हैं, using the free association technique जिसमें the client is asked to lie down on a couch and give a running account of his thought pattern without socially censoring it. उसकी कोई सेंसरिंग की जरूरत नहीं है. However sexual aggressive it is, it has to be expressed as it is. So that is free association. उसके बाद जनाब हमारे पास है ड्रीम एनालिसिस. फ्रॉइड wrote his book Interpretation of Dreams. और ये जो इंटरप्रिटेशन ऑफ ड्रीम्स है जनाब, अकॉर्डिंग टू दैट एवरी ड्रीम हैज टू पार्ट्स. ए मैनिफेस्ट पार्ट, वो तमाम लोग, चीजें, scenes, places which you observe in the dream form the manifest part of the dream. That is not very important. It is the latent, hidden part of the dream that is important. The meaning that you give to your dream, that is important. If you are falling down from a high mountain, you are being crushed by a big truck. Why is it that you have this dream? Why are you falling from a high mountain? Why are you being crushed by a truck? The meaning that you attach to this dream is important. That is interpretation. And in psychoanalytic theory of personality, there is a lot of sexual interpretation of dreams for which Freud was criticized. Dear students, we are talking about साइकोएनालिटिक थ्योरी ऑफ पर्सनालिटी और उसमें जनाब हम आपसे बात कर रहे हैं मीन्स ऑफ टैपिंग द अनकॉन्शियस, टेक्निक्स ऑफ साइकोएनालिटिक थेरेपी, और उसमें हमारे पास तीसरी है जी एनालिसिस ऑफ ट्रांसफरेंस. द रिलेशनशिप बिटवीन द पेशेंट एंड द क्लिनिशियन इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. द पेशेंट में रिलेट विद द थेरेपिस्ट पॉजिटिवली एज विद एन इम्पॉर्टेंट पर्सन इन हिज लाइफ लाइक पेरेंट, टीचर, फ्रेंड. We label it as positive transference. The patient may relate negatively with the therapist with anger, resentment, dislike. We say negative transference has occurred, and the patient may at times like the therapist while at times resent him. So that is an ambivalent transference. The therapist is human himself and he also at times projects his feelings, emotions, usually positive ones, towards the patient as well, and this is called counter transference. This should not happen. जनाब बात आपसे हो रही है एनालिसिस ऑफ ट्रांसफरेंस की. हमने कहा बाज वक़्त पेशेंट को थेरेपिस्ट बहुत अच्छा लगता है और रिलेशनशिप बहुत अच्छी जाती है, तो दैट इज पॉजिटिव ट्रांसफरेंस. बाज वक़्त थेरेपिस्ट बहुत बुरा लगता है क्लाइंट को, पेशेंट को, हम कहते हैं नेगेटिव ट्रांसफरेंस. बाद वक़्त अच्छा लगता है, थोड़े अरसे बाद बुरा लगता है, इट इज एम्बिवेलेंट ट्रांसफरेंस. The therapist is also a human being. He also projects a set of feelings towards the client and that is called counter transference. ये होना नहीं चाहिए, लेकिन क्योंकि हम क्लेम करते हैं कि थेरेपिस्ट और पेशेंट की रिलेशनशिप प्रोफेशनल है, so there shouldn't be any transference from side of the therapist to the client. ये होना नहीं चाहिए, but therapist is also a human being. उसके बाद जनाब फ्रॉइडियन स्लिप्स हैं जिसमें हम देखते हैं स्लिप ऑफ टंग, स्लिप ऑफ पेन. Let us evaluate Sigmund Freud's theory for you. Now, Sigmund Freud and his personality theory has been subjected to some harsh, bitter and sharp criticism from every aspect and angle. Freud painted a very pessimistic picture of human beings. He equated human beings to animals और कुछ ऐसे लगा कि all human beings are aggressive and selfish. His writings have enormous impact on literature, art, philosophy. His was the first theory of personality and many theories evolved as a reaction to it. हम फ्रॉइड की थ्योरी की जब एप्लीकेशन की बात करते हैं जनाब, इसका सबसे बड़ा एप्लीकेशन है टुवर्ड्स सेल्फ अंडरस्टैंडिंग एंड एनालिसिस. और जब यू आर एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड योर ओन सेल्फ एंड एनालाइज योर ओन सेल्फ वेल, दैट कैन re-educate you, that can help you in becoming a more emotionally stable, in a better adjustment towards different problems of life. So this is one technique which has a very important application, और इस theory की application यही है towards developing more self understanding and able to analyze yourself. Dear students, we have talked about psychoanalytic theory of personality assessment, जिसमें हमने इस सिगमंड फ्रॉइड की पर्सनालिटी थ्योरी के हर एस्पेक्ट और हर इम्पॉर्टेंट कंस्ट्रक्ट को आपके साथ डिस्कस किया, उसको एवेलुएट किया और ये देखने की कोशिश की कि व्हाट आर द एप्लीकेशंस ऑफ दिस पर्सनालिटी थ्योरी. तो इसकी एप्लीकेशन जो है वो सेल्फ अंडरस्टैंडिंग और सेल्फ एनालिसिस में है. Dear students, I hope you have enjoyed listening to these 3 lectures in which we have tried to discuss psychoanalytic theory of personality given to us by Sigmund Freud. Go through the PowerPoint slides and the Word document that is available. Do write to us if you have any problem. Keep in touch. Please take good care of yourself. Hope to see you in the next lecture with a new personality theory. Thank you so much. Khuda Hafiz.